Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming. So my topic is looking at STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And I'm sure some of us are like, you know what, enough already with this. And this is coming from a science guy. I've heard it. We've heard it all before. 3 years ago, we started looking at how do we integrate the arts. But many years before that, great teachers were integrating the arts, and they still are. And we need to keep on doing those things. We need to keep on pushing the agenda for our kids and allowing them to be creative and innovative in their classrooms. Now I'm proposing and taking it one step further. Let's put the R and turn from STEM to STEAM to STREAM. Because if our children cannot have that R, which stands for reading and research, then how can we expect them to be competent in science, in mathematics, in history, or anything else like that? A great speaker, Sir Ken Robinson, talks about changing educational paradigms. He talks about education being reformed around the world today in most education systems. You know, he talks about the two things that are actually focused on in those educational paradigms. The first, which I don't wholeheartedly agree with, is looking at the economy. Education and the economy are tied inherently, but they're not bound together where we have to prepare kids for college and career. We have to prepare them for life. The second thing we have to do, and Ken Robinson always talks about, is the creative and innovative side and the cultural side. So we talk about how children learn to be divergent thinkers, right? And that's what we're looking at, this child here, 2 years old, playing with an iTouch. And it's amazing to me how fast they pick these things up. You know, creativity and innovation teach our children to be divergent, creative, and innovative thinkers. But this is not a new concept. In 1916, Dewey actually talked about how we need to keep the creative edge in all of our children alive. That's 100 years ago, and we're still talking about it. There's something wrong with the educational structure today. It doesn't service our students the way it should, and it doesn't propose a way our teachers can actually do what they do best, teach. Convergent thinking is narrowing the ideas that children actually come to the table with. When you start looking at where they're going from there, and scientific creativity and logical thinking, those things are inherent when you start having great ideas. But when you look at our children in early childhood, and you look at the youngest of age, working with children that are in kindergarten or pre-K, they have all the skills that we need, and they lose them as time goes on. And one of the main reasons is because we start looking at how do we assess children. You know, we need to foster creativity and innovation in our classrooms by allowing for creative play. We need to allow this to happen in high schools, in colleges, and in the workplace. Encourage discovery learning. You know, they talked about the makery movement, the first speaker today. That's close to the heart where children want to be today. They want to explore, they want to learn, they want to actually propose new ideas and new ways to do things. So we need to do this more in the upper grade levels, middle and high school, right? When we start looking at high school, what do we look at? We look at credits, we look at seat hours. We should be looking at mastery learning. If I can show that I know something, if I can show that I can actually achieve in that skill set, why should I have to sit through 180 hours of content curriculum that makes me bored out of my mind? Collaboration is key. Collaboration will always be there for us now in the future. The world truly is flat. Our kids need to learn to be 21st century, globally empathetic citizens. We need to have a top-down and bottom-up approach to education where children actually lead the classroom and teachers then actually figure out how to actually facilitate that from behind and become instructional leaders for the child, but allowing them to explore and push the agenda for themselves. You know, structured and unstructured activities. Our kids are overscheduled, out of their minds with their parents telling them we have to go to classes for this, classes for that. You know what? We need more play in our children's lives today. STEM may be the present, right? But we need to look at what we are. And all the money is around STEM, so everyone's focusing on it because, you know, it's a follow the money thing in education because they keep on cutting things. I heard a horrible story this morning about a school leader, one of my friends who won an award, and his budget went down 23% this past year. That cannot happen to our schools. It cannot happen to our teachers or our kids. We need to look at STEAM for success, right? And integrating the arts and teaching children to be creative and innovative. You know what? We don't have to teach them. They already are. We just actually allow it in the classroom. STREAM, I believe, is the future. Reading and research tied into the M being music and mathematics, with the arts binds everything together for our children and for ourselves. We need to look at how we do this for our kids. You know why? Because things are not going to get better if we don't do this. When I look at my children in the classroom and I look at where they are, I can't think about one thing except for STREAM being the energizing factor that's going to happen for the sciences and changing the mind of consciousness for our children. I can say this now, mahalo, ke'ekua, thank you so much for being here.